What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp, and today we're going to take a look and review Palette. These little magnetic modules that connect to your PC and help you do things like photo and video editing in a much more simple and streamlined process, all at literally the touch of a button or the turn of a dial. I've been using these for around 3 weeks now, I'd say, and as a content creator on YouTube, these honestly help me out greatly when it comes to getting those real fine adjustments when it comes to color correction or color grading, and in the end it saves me a bunch of time. Taking a look at the palette itself, as I mentioned earlier, these little modules are magnetic and they can be completely customized and laid out in terms of how you want to have them configured for your layout here. I have a series of buttons, dials, and sliders here since it's the expert kit. And when you take a look at it, on all four sides of these palette blocks are these little pogo pins that connect to one another to give them all power. It starts with the main LCD block, which is like the main screen for it, and this is kind of your home base. Think of it that way. It tells you what program you're using, it's how you connect them to your PC, and all other modules must extend through this main one here. Now the setup is pretty easy since they all connect via magnets. The only catch here is how you connect them. They have like the male pin side and the female side. You just can't connect, male to male or female to female. It obviously has to go male to the female side, so the pins are going on the strip for them all to connect. It might kind of sound confusing, but if you think of it like Legos, it's pretty much like that. That's how you need to connect them all for them to all work. Each module is made of a nice aluminum, and they have this rubber padded backside on it to prevent it from scratching your desktop surface or to prevent it from moving. And to connect it, obviously you have your included micro USB slot on the back of the main core module here. They have that basic cable, but I'm really not a big fan of that. I'm personally a huge fan of the custom keyclack cables. So if you head over to keyclack.com and use code word randomfrankp at checkout, you can save 10% off on your purchase. They have a bunch of different size cables to pick from, different colors, patterns, all this really awesome stuff for a really great price. I like to use my white and carbon fiber cable with these. It looks really nice and it fits in with the color scheme. I'll put that link down below. Now once they are all connected and you boot up the Palette desktop app, you're free to really begin setting them up. It shows your blocks real time on the screen, which is really cool. So once you pick the program you'll be using, then your profile, you can begin to configure the Palette blocks in any orientation you want and to start to assign them to certain functions, stuff like that within the software. For example, each program has a certain amount of given functions that you can assign to each button, dial, or slider. The software makes it honestly really easy to just get up started and pick those functions. My typical setup is just assigning the cut and select in Premiere to the two buttons. I have one dial as my zoom in and out for really quick changes. The other two dials are set for like color temperature and saturation, for example. My one slider is for my exposure, and the other slider is set for the volume control. So just very easy access, all at the touch of these buttons here. It's really simple to set up in the app. All the functions are readily available for you to pick from, and you can just get started and going from there. What is also really great, it's going to save you a lot of time in the end, is that these actually have lights in them that light up around the blocks themselves. When you power it on to let you know that they are all connected to each other, the blocks will light up white. Then from there, inside the software, you can remap and change each module to a different color, so you can then, kind of like color coordinate and remember what each one does. It's definitely a nice touch. So like what I have the volume button, or the volume slider, I have that green, I have zoom purple, saturation blue, and so on. Then once you boot up whatever program you are using, the palette blocks will work instantly, and you can start using them in your editing workspace. As I mentioned, I have the expert kit here, which is 8 total blocks, which will be around $300 when they launch. But they also have a cheaper starter kit with 1 core screen, 2 buttons, 1 dial, and 1 slider for $200. Then they also have a professional kit with 15 total pieces for $500 for the aluminum finish, or $900 if you want a limited wooden kit. And up to 18 total pieces can be connected to the core at once. Currently, Palette works right out of the box with Adobe Lightroom, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, After Effects, Premiere, and Final Cut. And they can also act as a joystick in games like Fighters, or even use them as flight controls. There's a MIDI mode for music and a keyboard mode for just assigning certain keys to these modules. They did note that they will be releasing, more software and compatibility, stuff like that, so you can use these with more programs later on down the road. Altogether, these are a huge lifesaver to me personally. I'm just a huge fan of them. They're simple looking. They look really nice on my desk, that simplistic look. They work great. They're made really nice. And when it's all said and done, they save me a lot of time when it comes to editing and color correcting, and time is money. Real quick, just 2 cons that I want to mention are that not all functions are available to each module. So for example, like I said, I have the zoom set to the dial here for those real quick and easy adjustments, but I cannot assign that to a slider. It's just not in the app for me to do so. So they do slightly kind of limit the functions you can use, but it makes sense for the zooming to be done with a dial, you know. And honestly, you can just kind of assign that keyboard function, like the, you know, plus and minus, anyways, if it's a problem with the keyboard setting. So it's not that bad. Also, there is the slightest of delay when using them. It's not a deal breaker, and it really doesn't slow me down, but sometimes it'll take just a quick second for it to register whenever program I'm using them in for the adjustment to take place. Now, I know people may still prefer using a traditional keyboard and mouse over these, and that's fair if you've been using these for, you know, a while. It might be hard to kind of switch it up to a whole new workflow. However, I think the time that it took me to get used to these and learning them definitely pays off in the end. I do save a lot of time using these palette blocks when editing. It's very user-friendly and extremely beneficial to you when you're using them in ways that will make your workflow and job in the end just much easier. That's pretty much going to do it, guys. Again, these are the palette blocks. I'll put the link for them in the description down below. Pretty much think of them as like macro buttons or dials to help you do things, photo editing, video editing, use them as keyboard functions, even like a joystick in a game. Tons of great functionality, and they're going to be releasing more software compatibility for these down the road. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up to show your support. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up and follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. And lastly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss out on any tech reviews I got coming up really soon. I'm Random Frank P. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.